to AmalgamNation. This video isn't really a video, you can just listen to it. It's me interviewing Nathan Keeley about Otaku Con and basically himself rather than just the convention. And it's funny.
Right, so I'm here with Nathan Keeley. You've started Otaku Con. Would you like to explain why you've done that?
I think I started off, I was only like 18 years of age, and I had just finished game development college, had no job, was living with my mother, and at the time, I was very into comic books. So I remember one day I seen at the Wax Museum they were actually selling comics. So I went in one day and just had a look through them, and the prices were all over the place. They had actually bought these in order to resell them, but didn't know really much about the comic books themselves. So I told them, I know a bit about comic books, I can price these for you and sell them. I remember when I was like 15, 16, I went to like one of the Erdigons in the first NomCon, and I remember I only used to go to the trade hall, so I didn't know much about panels or whatever, so I thought that would be a good idea to maybe sell it. And I knew that the first Dublin Comic Con was starting that year, so I think on behalf of the Wax Museum, I would sell their comics and stuff like that. And that kind of like trained me in and educated me on how very soon after I would create my own business. Because I saw like how like by selling their collection of comic books, that if I got my own stock, how I would sell it. I got a few connections and stuff like that with different conventions who would allow me to sell, and that's when I set up Annihilator Comics. And I remember that I was inspired, I think it was by Kazuku Con and PokeCon at the time. These were like two first year conventions, and I was like, these are fucking brilliant. Like these are like first time conventions, it's their first year, and they're so, I consider them godly. Like people were having a great time, and I was like, I had like a bucket list of things I want to do before my life's out. One of them was create my own business, one of them was like create my own comic book, and one of them was create my own convention. At the end of Kazuka Con, I turned around to my friend and I was like, I want to create a convention. He's like, oh, we don't have the money, we don't have the materials. It's like the $1 Million Man or so then within a week I set up the Facebook page, and a week later we had like 100 likes. And I was using paint and stuff like that for the logo. And then I was getting like different people asking me could they join the committee, and anyone who wanted to get involved at the beginning, no matter who they were, I wasn't a con regular, I got them involved. And by the end of like the month, I had a whole committee. I had a guy who was doing the art for us, and eventually I got contacted by David Vincent. He was like, I had such a great time at the convention BroCon, can you bring me over again?
I actually met him at BroCon last year. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, and he was like, he reached out to us, and I didn't know how to go about getting guests. I contacted one of them who was kind of small time, and the agent the email I got was kind of like misspelled, and they were looking for like thousands upon thousands, and they wouldn't have been up to the same caliber as David Vincent. But like he definitely helped us out, as in he actually asked us could he come along, and then his agent started talking to me, and I really see her as a mentor, as she has been a con runner for 10 years, and she would like teach me like different things and give me different concepts on how to run a con, and she definitely helped me, and she helped me like how I go about contacting different guests. I really have to credit a lot to her into the con itself, because she really inspired me and definitely helped me a lot. Her and Dava have been a huge influence.
Cool. So, what made you first go to conventions in the first place?
I was always an anime fan. Like back in Ballyferma, like we were always big into the shonens, like Dragon Ball Z, and we were into like Pokemon, Beyblade, like anything where like another guy punches another guy, and it's all masculine and shit.
So, which Beyblader did you want to be? As a guy who watched Beyblade,
I wanted to be Tyson. I want to be Tyson. He was cool.
I can't remember his name. I think it was Kai, the guy with the silver hair. That's the one
Kai.
I wanted to be.
He was the first emo ever. He was like.
I actually bought silver hair dye to dye my hair like that at one point.
No, it was
and
Tyson.
Failed miserably.
No, I remember being like 8 years of age and be like to my cousin, it's like, I'm a Beyblade master. If you want to be like one of the greatest, you have to follow me and listen to what I do. And I think when we used to get into an argument, we'd like shoot Beyblades at each other's face and all. Yeah, that wasn't a good time. So But we used to like play fighting. We would like play TMNT and like we'd fight each other. We would play wrestling and fight each other. We would play Power Rangers and fight each other. We'd play Dragon Ball Z and fight each other. I think in Ballyferma, like we definitely like the fighting aspect of anime. I remember being in like secondary school. I think it was like second year. The teacher was like, "So Nate," I think I was like dazed off, and he's like, "Nathan, so what do you like?" I was like, Japanese cartoons. Didn't even know what anime was at the time. She's like, "No, you like French." I was like, "Well, I really do like Japanese cartoons." I remember I wanted to rewatch Dragon Ball Z. I was 13 years of age, had my first computer, and people were talking about anime, and I was like, "What the fuck is this anime?" And I looked it up, found out what it was. At this point, Naruto had first aired, so the way people explained it with Sexy Jutsu, it reminded me of some of the Cartoon Network shows which were airing back in the day, like Cow and Chicken, and like how like funny and bizarre that was with the first episode, and that's what I thought it was about. But it wasn't until I gave Naruto a second chance and actually got to the second, third episode that I came to the realization that anime is something that we don't really have in Europe or America. That like it teaches like say younger children and younger teenager like morals. Teaches them like good values like say friendship, and you know it has really dark storylines. I suppose the only thing that you can equivalate that to would be maybe some of the DC stuff like Batman, but that would be aimed towards an older audience that you would see that has the same deeper storylines. That I think if a lot of people like use some of the topics that are brought up in some of the animes, would maybe make their life better. But obviously since getting deep into anime, there's been some messed up genres, some messed up animes, but you have to kind of like block yourself from that or whatever and take it as, you know, comedy.
And just find something that you yourself enjoy rather than
like Naruto, like
mainstream.
It's like I will do anything for my friends. No one will get on my way. I'm gonna be Hokage, even though it's very unlikely. I will do anything to be in that position. I will give my very being just to be there. That's the sort of moral that I probably carry with me till this day.
I love that about Naruto myself, especially in the first episode of Shippuden when he meets Sasuke at the beginning of it before it winds back. And he says to Sasuke, "How can I become Hokage when I can't even save one friend?" That says it all right there.
It's more like
friends.
He's the weakest, he's the underdog, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how weak you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you don't have parents. It doesn't matter if people look down on you. It doesn't matter the problems you have. Because in his mind, he's going to be Hokage, and that's it at the end of the day. He will do whatever it takes and give up his own very being to be there. He will rise to the occasion, and he will meet his goal one day. He will go through good times and bad times, and he will persevere. That's what I really like about that.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of something else to ask.
Maybe do you want to go into some of our traders?
Okay, name some of the traders you have that you're looking forward to meeting for the first time, or you've dealt with before and think are
I'm not like a con regular, and like in recent years I haven't been much into anime, more into comic books, but I definitely wanted to help out a lot of the small press people, as in I really love the indie development companies like Bidsmith, Dark Oasis Games, people like that. I definitely want to help them out, and that's what I want our con to be about, like community. I want it to be like a family. I don't want it to be like, oh, it's a convention. I want it to be like a place where you feel at home, a sanctuary. It's the sort of place who will advertise the small people, the small press. I definitely some of the comic book people as well. I wanted to get involved. So video games, comic books, definitely. I suppose Celtic Clan has been around for a while. I'm definitely happy to see them to come along. And definitely Garth Cremona was definitely a big help and supporter of us from the very beginning. I think a lot of those guys know that like we're the convention that really, really wants to advertise these guys. We want to really help them out, and we want to definitely have a big presence of the small press. I suppose then we have like Magician's Merch, who definitely used to be like maybe a small business, and they're starting to build themselves up. I definitely want to like help a lot of the small businesses that are starting up. Obviously Anime Okami, Lee, who owns that, I think that's become a good friend or associated with Otaku Con as well. He was another startup as well. We definitely want to help all the small businesses, the startups. I know this is kind of unfair, but we definitely do favoritise those guys. And I suppose we have the big names as well. We got your Dublin City Comics. We got your Sub City as well. We try to like even things out with our traders and make sure between anime dealers, comic book dealers, and some different ones in between there. We have like Bizarro Cupcakes who sell cupcakes. So
oh, that sounds cool. Right, so what are some of the panelists that you have coming to this Otaku Con this year?
Some of the panelists or the